morning, year ones, and welcome to our penultimate active read session. That means it's the one before the very last one. So can you remember what happened last time? It was going to be Beth's birthday, and where were they going to go to? They were going to go to the land of birthdays. Good morning, year ones, and welcome to our penultimate active read story today. That means it's the one before the very last one. So we're very nearly there and we've finished our book. And I'm going to try and get through this one without any interruptions at the door today. Can you remember what happened last time? It was going to be Beth's birthday and they were going to go to the land of birthdays. Now that sounds really, really exciting. So are you ready for chapter 31, the land of birthdays? The children set off once again to the enchanted wood. They knew the way to the faraway tree very well by now. Wisher, 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 whispered the trees as the children ran between them. Beth put her arms round one and pressed her left ear to the trunk. What secret are you saying today? She asked. We wish you a happy birthday, whispered the leaves. Beth laughed. It was fun to have a birthday. We all know that. When they came to the faraway tree, how marvellous it looked. The folk of the tree had bedecked it with lots of little brightly coloured flags because it was Beth's birthday and it looked simply lovely. Oh, said Beth, pleased. I do feel happy. The only thing I wish is that I had proper party clothes on, not my old ones. But that couldn't be helped. They were just about to climb the tree when Dame Washalot's big washing basket came bumping down on the end of Moonface's rope for the children to get into. Good, said Joe. Get in, girls. They all got in and went up the tree at a tremendous rate. Moonface must have someone helping him to pull, said Joe, astonished. He had. Mr. Whiskers was there with what's-his-name and the old saucepan man. And they were all pulling like anything. No wonder the basket shot up the tree. Many happy returns of the day, said everyone, kissing Beth. Oh, good, you're not in your best clothes, said Moonface. We wondered if you'd make it a fancy dress party, Beth. Oh, I'd love to, said Beth. But we haven't got any fancy dress. We can easily get that in the birthday land, said Silky, clapping her hands for joy. Good, good, good. I do like a fancy dress party. Everybody is ready to go, said Moonface. The elves are just below us. Where's Saucepan Man? Hey, Saucepan, where have you got to? He stepped into your slippery slip by mistake, said an elf, appearing out of Moonface's house. He went down the slide with an awful noise. I expect he's at the bottom by now. Good gracious, just like silly old Saucepan, said Moonface. We'd better let down the washing basket for him, or he'll never get up to us. So down went the washing basket again, and old Saucepan got into it and came up with a clatter of saucepans and kettles. Now, are we really all ready? Said Moonface. Silky, what's his name? Saucepan, Angry Pixie, Dame Washalot, Mr. Whiskers, the elves. Goodness, what a lovely lot of people are coming, said Beth, seeing all the elves and tree folk on the branches below. Is that Dame Washalot? What a nice old woman. Dame Washalot was beaming happily. For once, she was going to leave her wash tub. Going to the land of birthdays was not a treat to be missed. Come on then, said Moonface, and he led the way up the ladder. Up he went, popped his head above to make quite sure that the land of birthdays was there, and then jumped straight into it. Everyone climbed up. That's all, I think, said Moonface, peering down. Oh no, there's someone else. Whoever is it? I thought we were all here. Goodness, it's my clock, said Silky, the The one I got in the land of take what you want. Sure enough, it was. Ding dong, it cried indignantly as it climbed up onto its flat feet. All right, we'll wait for you, said Silky. Go carefully up the ladder. You weren't really asked, you know. Oh, I'd love your clock to come to my party, said Beth at once. Come along, clock. Ding dong, said the clock, pleased, and managed to get up the ladder. The land of birthdays was simply beautiful. To begin with, there was always birthday weather there. Brilliant sunshine, blue sky, and a nice little breeze. The trees were always green, and there were always daisies and buttercups growing in the fields. Oh, it's lovely, cried Beth, dancing around joyfully. Moonface, what about our fancy dress? Where do we get that? Oh, you'll find everything in that house over there, said Moonface, pointing to a very pretty house. They all trooped over to it. As they went, small brown rabbits hopped out of holes, called a happy birthday to Beth, and popped back inside. It was all very exciting. Everyone crowded into the pretty house. It was full of cupboards, and in the cupboards were the most thrilling costumes you can think of. Oh, look at this, cried Joe in delight as he came across a sailor's outfit with a smart hat that had blue, white and gold on it, just like the captain of a ship. Just the right size for me. He put it on. Beth chose a dress like a fairy's, and Franny chose a clown's costume with a pointed hat. She looked just like the real thing. Moonface dressed up as a pirate, and Silky became a daffodil. What's-his-name was a policeman, and as for the old saucepan man, he simply could not find a costume to fit him because he was so bumpy with kettles and saucepans. Everyone else dressed up, and oh my, they did look convincing. Beth had wings with her dress, but she was disappointed because she couldn't fly with them. How she would have loved to spread her wings and fly as the real fairies did. Now for balloons, said Silky, and she danced into the sunshine and ran to an old balloon seller who was sitting surrounded by a great cloud of coloured balloons. Everybody chose one, and what games they had. Suddenly a bell rang, and Moonface gave a shout of joy. Birthday feast! Come on, everyone! He rushed to a long table set out in the field. Beth ran with the others and took her place at the head of the table. But to her great surprise and disappointment, there was no food on the table at all. Just empty plates, cups and glasses. Don't look so upset, whispered Silky. You've got to wish your own birthday feast. Beth gave a squeak. Wish her own birthday feast? Oh, that would be the best fun in the world. Don't wish for bread and butter, called Moonface. Wish for an ice cream sundae. I like those. I wish for an ice cream sundae, said Beth at once. And immediately the biggest, tallest sundae you ever saw appeared on one of the empty plates. Moonface helped himself. Wish for strawberries and vanilla ice cream, cried Franny, who simply loved that. I wish for strawberries and vanilla ice cream, said Beth, and an enormous dish of strawberries appeared with a large tub of vanilla ice cream beside it. And I wish for chocolate cake too, and lemonade, and fruit salad, yelled someone. Donuts, cried what's-his-name. Cheese sandwiches, begged Mr. Whiskers. Ding dong, said Silky's clock in the greatest excitement. Everyone laughed. Don't wish for ding-dongs, said Joe. We've got plenty of those, as long as Silky's clock is here. The clock chimed 14 without stopping. It wandered about, looking as happy as could be. Everyone began to eat. My goodness, it was a wonderful feast. The strawberries and vanilla ice cream and the sundae went almost at once. for Mr. Whiskers and 50 elves decided that they liked those very much too. So Beth had to wish for some more. "What about my birthday cake?" she asked Silky. "Do I wish for that too?" "No, it just comes," said Silky. "It will appear right in the middle of the table. You just watch." Beth watched. There was a wonderful silver dish in the middle of the table. Something seemed to be forming there. A curious sort of mist hung over it. "The birthday cake is coming," shouted Joe, and everyone watched the silver dish. Gradually, a great cake shaped itself there. Oh, what a wonderful cake, with red, pink, white and yellow decorations made from sugar and shaped like little flowers. On the top were 8 candles burning, for Beth was 8 that day. Her name was written in big sugar letters on the top. Beth, a very happy birthday. Beth felt very proud. She had to cut the cake, of course. It was quite a difficult job, for there were so many people to cut a slice for. "This is a wishing cake," said Moonface, when everyone had a piece on their plate. "So wish, wish, wish when you eat it, and your wish will come true." The children stared at him in delight. What should they wish? Franny was just holding her cake in her hand, thinking of a wish, when the old saucepan man upset everything. Whatever do you think he did? "Oh no, I hope nothing goes wrong for Beth's birthday. I'm going to get a cup of tea and then we'll find out what happens next. Go and have a little break and then come back." Okay, straight on to chapter 22 then. Let's find out. Sorry, not 22, 32. Let's find out what Saucepan did. "Wouldn't you like to wish?" said Moonface, turning to the old saucepan man, who was just about to bite into his cake. "Fish?" said the saucepan man in delight. "Yes, I'd love to fish. I wish we were all fishing for fine, fat fishes in the middle of the sea." Well, what a wish to make, just as he was eating a wishing cake, for he hadn't heard Moonface properly. Anyway, the wish immediately came true. A wind blew down and lifted up the whole crowd of guests at the table. Sitting on their chairs, clinging tightly, they flew through the air for miles. Whatever was happening? Down flew the chairs in the big wind. A shower of salt spray drenched everyone. Joe gasped and looked down. Bump! He and everyone else landed on soft sand, rolled off their chairs and sat up, blinking in surprise. The long-bearded elves looked frightened. Moonface kept opening and shutting his mouth, like a fish. He was so astonished. Joe was cross, and so was the angry pixie. "Now what's happened?" said Dame Washalot in a most annoyed voice. "Why have we come here?" "Look at all those fishing rods," said Silky, pointing to a whole row of rods standing in the sand with their fishing lines in the water. "Waiting for us," groaned Moonface. "Silly old saucepan man didn't hear what I said about wishing. He thought I said fishing, and he wished us all here, fishing in the sea." "Goodness," said Beth, alarmed. "Where are we then?" "I think we're on the little lost island," said Silky, looking around. "It's a funny little place, always floating about and getting lost. But there's always good fishing to be had from it." "Fishing?" said Joe in disgust. "Who wants to go fishing in the middle of a birthday party? Let's get back at once." "Ding dong," said Silky's clock, walking about at the edge of the sea and getting its feet wet in the waves. "Come back, clock," called Silky. "You know you can't swim." The clock came back and wiped its feet on the grass that grew around. Beth thought it was a remarkably sensible clock, and she wished she had one like it. You know, we really must do something about getting back to the land of birthdays, said Joe, getting up and looking around a little island. What can we do here? Is there a boat? There was nothing except the fishing rods. Nobody even touched them, for they didn't feel in the least like fishing. The little lost island was just a hilly stretch of green grass and nothing else whatsoever. I really don't know what to do, said Moonface, frowning. Do you, Mr. Whiskers? Mr. Whiskers was dressed up like Santa Claus and looked very fine indeed with his long beard. He rubbed his nose thoughtfully and shook his head. The difficulty is, he said, that none of us has any magic with him, because we're all in fancy dress and all our other clothes are in the land of birthdays. So the spells and magic we keep in our pockets are not here. Well, we shan't starve, said What's-his-name. We can always fish. Fancy eating fish and nothing but fish always, said Joe, making a face. When I think of all those lovely things that Beth wished for and nobody to eat them now, really I could cry. Franny had something in her hand and she looked down to see what it was. It was a piece of the birthday cake. Good, she could eat that at any rate. She lifted the delicious cake to her mouth and took a nibble. What are you eating? Asked Moonface, bending over to see. A bit of the birthday cake, said Franny, cramming all of it in her mouth. Don't eat it! Don't swallow it! Yelled Moonface, suddenly dancing round Franny as if he had gone quite mad. Stop! Don't swallow! Franny stared at him in astonishment. So did everybody else. What's gone wrong with Moonface? Asked Silky anxiously. Franny stood still with her mouth full of birthday cake, looking with amazement at Moonface. What's the matter? She asked with her mouth full. You've got a bit of the wishing cake in your mouth, Franny, shouted Moonface, hopping first on one leg and then on the other. Wish, dear girl, wish. What shall I wish? Said Franny. Wish us back to the land of birthdays, of course, yelled everyone in excitement. Oh, said Franny, I didn't think of that. I wish we were all back in the land of birthdays, enjoying our feast. Darkness fell around everyone very suddenly. No wind came this time. Moonface put out his hand and took Silky's. What was happening? Then daylight came back again, and everyone gave a shout of surprise and delight. They were back in the land of birthdays. Yes, there was the table in front of them, and more chairs to sit down on, and the same delicious food as before. Oh, good, 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 shouted everyone, and sat down at once. They beamed at one another, very thankful to be back from the little lost island. What a strange little adventure, said Joe, helping himself to a large piece of wishing cake. Please be careful what you wish, everybody. We don't want any more adventures like that in the middle of a party. I wish that my wings could fly, said Beth, as she munched her cake. And at once her silver wings spread themselves out and she rose into the air like a big butterfly, flying beautifully. Oh, it was the loveliest feeling in the world. Look at me, she cried. And everyone looked. Franny called out to her, Don't fly too far, Beth. Don't fly too far. Beth soon flew down to the table again, her cheeks red with excitement and joy. This was the loveliest birthday party she had ever had. Everybody wished their wishes, except the old saucepan man, who had already wasted his. Franny, too, had wished her wish when she was on the little lost island. But when she looked upset because she had lost her wish, Moonface whispered to her, Don't be upset. Tell me what you really wanted to wish, and I'll wish it for you. I don't want to wish for myself. Oh, Moonface, you are kind, said Franny. Well, if you really mean it, I did want a doll that could walk and talk. Easy, said Moonface at once. I wish that Franny had a doll that walks and talks. And at that very moment, Silky cried out in wonder and pointed behind her. Everyone looked. Coming along on small, plump legs was a doll, beautifully dressed in blue, with a bag in its hand. It walked to Franny and looked up at her. Oh, you lovely, beautiful doll, cried Franny in the greatest delight. And she lifted the doll onto her knee. It cuddled up to her and said, I belong to you. I am your own doll. My name is Perenelle. What a sweet name, said Franny, hugging the doll. What have you got in that bag, Perenelle? All my other clothes, said the doll, and opened her bag. Inside were night dresses, a dressing gown, an overcoat, a raincoat, overalls, dresses, and all kinds of other clothes. Franny was simply delighted. What did you wish, Joe? Asked Beth. Joe was looking all around and about, as if he expected something to arrive at any moment. I wished for a pony of my own, said Joe. Oh, look, here it comes. What a beauty. A little black pony with a white mark on its forehead and 4 white feet came trotting up to the party. It went straight to Joe. My own little pony, cried the little boy in delight. Let me ride you. I shall call you Midnight Star, for the little white star on your black coat. He jumped on the pony's back and together they went galloping around the land of birthdays. Now let's play games, cried Moonface, capering about. And as soon as he said that, the table vanished and music began to play. Musical chairs, shouted Silky, as the chairs suddenly put themselves together in a long row. Come on, everybody. Oh, that sounds so much fun in the land of birthdays. My goodness me, you can wish for your own food, you can wish for your own toys. I wonder what you would wish for. Okay, that's it for today. One more chapter ready for tomorrow and the finale. Okay, bye-bye for now.